Price is king, it's where we belong. Stay with the dream, don't lose your way. Right way's the fire that'll light the day. Keep it simple, let the moment arrive. 3-8 trap keeps the hope alive. Hold on tight till the signal's near. Right way's the trail, we're breaking through fear.
Good morning, fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for July 24th, 2025. Well, we got through those big tech reports yesterday. We saw Tesla moving lower this morning because of some lowering of sales numbers. We saw IBM move a little bit lower here yesterday after reporting, and we saw Google moving higher here on the day. Kind of a mix in some of those big techs. We'll see here in just a little bit how that affects the overall market. We've got a busy day of earnings today, so how about we just get right to it. If we take a look at what happened in the overnight action last night, we had Asian markets doing pretty good, a little bit of a mix there. Australia was down 27.80 or 0.32%. We saw Hong Kong up 129.11, coming in at 0.51%. South Korea up $6.68, 0.21%. The Nikkei hit a new record high. Very happy about their trade deal, apparently. 665.02, 1.59%. We saw India go lower yesterday, 157.80. 0.63% lower, and Shanghai higher by 23.43.65% to the upside. So looking not too bad over there. If we take a look at European markets, we're mostly bullish there in Europe. We've got the DAX up 106.75 at 0.44%. The old FTSE over there doing 79.88 up 0.88%, and the CAC a little bit lower, down 13.02%. or negative 0.17%. U.S. futures this morning, a little bit mixed. There's a story that the president is visiting the Federal Reserve, and that's got the market apparently a little bit worried here. We've got the Dow futures down 160, so excuse me, it's changed 174 points here this morning. We've got the S&P 500 futures are coming in only up $2.25, and we've got NASDAQ futures continuing to stretch higher, up 62.25. If we take a look at what we've got going on in bond prices here this morning, our bond prices, well, they're hanging in there. The 30-year bond is coming in at 4.96%. The 10-year bond, 4.40%, and the 2-year bond, 3.89%, as they rally back up here just a little bit on those rates. Taking a look at the US dollar as a result moving a little bit higher, so we still have that potential in here. Something we'll want to be watching is this possibility that we're building a bit of an inverted head and shoulders pattern. So watch that carefully. If we start coming back up, we might finally make that first higher low here in the US dollar. Watch that if we start to see that dollar coming up. Now, if we take a look at what that's doing to precious metals here this morning, interesting, the gold is continuing to sell off after yesterday's move. Big, strong move here too. Right now, gold futures down $29.90 an ounce, pulling back. So you can see, depending on where you want to draw that trend, we're giving up that upside trend, and we're giving up some support here pretty quickly in gold. Gold right now, $3,367 an ounce. If we take a look at silver, silver's hanging in there pretty good. We are basically let's see, 21 cents lower here on silver futures at 39.29. I still think we're probably going to hit 40 in this. Still a very, very bullish chart. So keep an eye there on silver. We've got copper. Copper just a tiny bit higher here this morning. We saw some selling, however, in some of the miners yesterday in FCX, but COPX holding in there pretty good. Copper at the moment up 10 cents. You can see that FCX after earnings yesterday pulling back in here, but nothing major wrong with that as long as we hold this support. We do have that possibility that this is a lower high in there, however. We've got palladium moving lower here this morning, following through from yesterday, down $21 an ounce, and palladium pulling back just ever so slightly here, $6.90 an ounce lower. If we take a look at what's going on in oil this morning, we've got oil futures right now coming in up 55 cents at $65.80 a barrel. Brent crude pushing up by, let's see, to $69.22 a barrel. And natural gas is trying to catch a little bit of a bounce after making a new recent low. Second time that we have whipsawed, we whipped up through here and then just couldn't hold that low, continuing to whip, making new lows here in UNG. Not a good situation here at all on natural gas. If we were to take a look at those cryptos here this morning, well, we've got Bitcoin here down at $263 a coin this morning. That's only 0.22%. Interestingly enough, we've got Ether moving back to the upside, up just $7.50 an ounce, or 0.22%. Pretty much everything else in crypto is looking just a little bit lower here today, so kind of keep an eye on that. We could have Ether starting to slip back as well, so watch that closely. Let's take a look. Well, actually, I think that covers the main areas of the market overnight. So how about we just settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Thursday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at these charts, see if we can figure out how we might want to approach the market for today. Remember, we want to look at these charts for what they are, not for what we would like them to be. Remember, shaking off that bias helps us take a good focused look at the price action of the chart. Be careful too, not just to look at the hard right edge, but look at the chart to take a look at the details in there. If we look at the diamonds right now, well, it's pretty impossible to look at this without just all kinds of bullishness here in the market. Very, very bullish in that upside trend. We held on here to this upside trend, continuing to stretch on higher yesterday strongly in anticipation of some of those earnings. But as you can see, as we push up here, we do have the resistance of the all-time high here in the diamonds to be looking for, and that's right up here in this area. So if those bulls can continue to follow through here after that big move yesterday, then look for that stretch break through yesterday's high, and then let's see if we can push right on up and see if we can test that all-time high up here in the diamonds. Now, if the bears were to have anything to say here today, if we're going to push back, notice we've got a little bit of price support right in here on the chart. So first, a test of there. If that were to fail, then we have that worrisome thing that could occur here, and that is we could fill this gap here in the chart, come back and test that upside trend. Unfortunately, that would be a pretty big point move if that were to occur. Breaking down beyond that, we've got a good area price support right in here, and it would only be falling through there, I think, that would really raise some concern in the market. Now, if we take a look at our SPY, blue sky above, there's, I mean, just all kinds of bullishness. So when it comes to tech continuing to drive the markets higher here, watch that carefully. If we can continue to push this up, again, blue sky above, it would only be if the bears have anything to say, pushing back down. We've got a little area of support here on the low side of that candle yesterday, so pushing down into there wouldn't hurt us at all, albeit pretty substantial point move. It would be breaking down below that would probably raise a little bit of concern here. We've got some support right in there to catch us, and then of course moving on down, there's support across here that we could catch, and of course that upside trend. The only thing that is majorly worrying to me here in the SPY is that we're so overextended in the short term, and that our valuations here in stocks are becoming very, very stretched. So stay with the trend, but as I've been saying, stay with the trend, but have a plan to protect yourself should the bears decide to attack, and we never know when that might occur. When we take a look at our QQQ, also very, very bullish. Nice push yesterday, new record highs in the QQQ, and every reason to believe that we can continue to extend to the upside here in the Qs. So watch that carefully, blue sky above. If the bears were to have anything to say, you can see we've got a little bit of price support right there. We could halt right there and hold. Breaking down below there, I see that possibility we come back in here to these low areas of the chart, retesting that trend in the market. I think if we were to break on below that, breaking down into this area of the chart, we might raise a little bit of concern in the market. And of course, beyond that would be some really big point moves in the QQQ. You can't rule that out as a possibility, even though we're so overly confident, I think, bullish here in the market. If we stumble at all, big point moves are possible. And then if we take a look at our IWM, really good day yesterday, pushing up, leaving a pretty substantial gap behind. If the bears were to have anything to say, pushing back to test that low looks like a possibility. But there's every reason to believe we can follow this through to the upside, breaking yesterday's high in here, pushing us right up into these next levels of price resistance. You can see right there would be that next level of price resistance in the chart. Beyond that, up around 230 in IWM would be possible if those bulls can keep pushing. Obviously, we have resumed the upside trend here with this higher low. So if we were to break down below this area of support, that's where we could move pretty quickly maybe and fill this gap here in IWM back down to test this upside trend. If we were to break below there, we've got a really good area of price support in here. A lot of price action in there on that. It would be below that area where we would probably get a little bit of concern coming up in the market. Let's take a look at our VIX. Our VIX really fell hard yesterday in that extreme bullish push on the day. Pushing down here substantially, breaking past this new low. I think we might be reaching a bit of complacency here in the market, a little bit of overconfidence of rate cuts, a little bit of overconfidence in trade deals. Remember, it's not that far away that we're going to be looking next Friday, as a matter of fact, August 1st, when all of those additional tariffs for folks that haven't made a deal with the United States will go into play. So keep that in mind. Now, if we can continue to push on back or down here in the market, I think down here is that next area of price support to be watching in the VIX. Any bearishness, maybe pushing back up to retest this area of resistance, and then pushing back up maybe into here to test that area of resistance. Remember, still in a downtrend if that's the case. And then if we take a look at our T21 22, the 4-week new high, new low ratio here, you can see we closed the day here on T21 22, pushed up here pretty far in the bearish reversal zone. Remember, anytime, and you can take this back as far as you want, anytime we're up in this area, we run the risk that we can find some reason to be selling just from that overextension situation here in the market. So watch that carefully. If the bulls can continue to find inspiration here today, we've still got a little bit of upside in here that we could push. Not a whole lot, but we've got a little bit of upside. And if the bears have anything to say, just recognizing we've got a very big opening for them. If the bears decide to do anything, and they haven't been able to do anything for some time here in the market. Now, if we take a look at our T2108 percentage of stocks above the 40-day moving average, had a really good day yesterday, pushing up strongly, smashing right through that 65 level here, and we're pushing right back up toward that 70% level in T2108. Now, I will remind you that T2108, you can see how difficult it is to break through this area. We have spent most of this year and most of last year below that 70% area. We've tested it several times, but I'll tell you, when we pop up past that 70% area, we reach that very, very frothy area of the market, that overextension in the market, and we tend to find a reason somewhere up in this area to find some pullback. So watch that carefully. Now, if we were to pull back, well, we've got some really good support levels in here. 60 is a pretty good area of price support, so no particular worries there. Bulls are definitely in control, but just kind of keep in mind we're getting very, very stretched, and that's why I say stay with the upside trend, but make sure you have a plan to protect yourself should those bears decide to pop up and do anything. If we take a look at T2107, percentage of stocks above the 200-day, good stretch yesterday as well, breaking through these recent highs. We're pushing up toward that 50% area here of the chart. Watch that up there. We've got pretty good resistance up here in that chart with 50% of the stocks back above the 200. You can see that's a really substantial resistance up there. So watch that carefully on T2107. But you got to admit, this is still extremely bullish here in T2107. If we take a look at T2101, this was really good yesterday for the bulls. The bulls pushing that breadth higher following that buying move to the upside. So as long as we can continue to see that bullish pressure in here pushing up as we rally, that's going to help with the confidence of staying up here. So watch that carefully here today. If we could follow through on that breadth, that would be good. If that breadth happens to pull back and we continue to rally, then we start looking for that little bit of a fade back from that big strong move yesterday. So watch that carefully here on market breadth. Let's take a peek at our I can say it, economic calendar here today. If we take a look at our economic calendar, we've got several points that we'll want to be paying attention to in the calendar. Jobless claims, of course, can always be a potential for a market move. They're expecting in the consensus 225,000. If we come in there on that range, I don't see there being any problem. In fact, it might even be a catalyst for a bullish action to follow through. We got the Chicago Fed national activity in here. Last time we had some negative numbers. As you can see, a 0.28, a negative 0.28, negative 0.16 on the 3-month average. We could easily see some improvement on that. Again, could provide a little bit of bullishness on that. We've got a PMI composite flash in here. Interestingly enough, they are expecting on the consensus the composite index to decline just a little bit from a 52.8 from a 52.3, but we're seeing manufacturing move up a bit and services index move down just a little bit. So watch that carefully. And then we've got a new home sales numbers in here. New home sales, they're expecting that to move up to 650,000. Watch that one carefully, because if you remember yesterday, we had existing home sales and they did miss on those estimates. So maybe new home sales garner a different amount of attention in there, and that could be. So watch that one today. If it does push up, that could be bullish. We've got a natural gas report. After that, we've got a Kansas City Fed manufacturing number in here. We've got some bond auctions and a Fed balance sheet. If we look into Friday, all we've really got going over there, and probably one of the bigger numbers of the week in here, is going to be that durable goods report. So keep an eye on that tomorrow morning at the bell, and then, of course, the Baker Hughes rig count. Let's take a look at our earnings calendar, and boy, I tell you guys, it's a busy one on that earnings calendar. No way I can go through these. Well, I could, but then the video would be 45 to 50 minutes long. So grab the screenshot of this. We'll take a look at just a couple of them here this morning. But pause the video, grab a screenshot if you want to take a look at those full notables. Let's just take a really quick look in here. We've got stocks like A.O. Smith. That's trying to move higher here this morning. We've got American Airlines. Looks like it's trying to move a little bit lower, but still very bullish chart pattern. We've got C&P that will be reporting today. Comcast will be reporting today. We're going to hear from Honeywell. We're going to hear from IMAX here this morning. KDP, Dr. Pepper, Keurig. It's actually Keurig Dr. Pepper, but I don't know why. I always call it Dr. Pepper Keurig. And then we have Lazard that will be in there. We've got Mobileye that will be reporting. We're going to hear from Ryder Systems in there. We've got Tractor Supply that will be reporting. Tech will be reporting. Valero is on the list here this morning. So keep an eye on some of those reports. We've got a busy morning of reports. This afternoon, not the big market moving reports in there, but we've got things like Deckers, we've got things like AEM, SkyWest is in there, Weyerhaeuser is in there. Intel will be the most notable for this afternoon to be paying attention to. Let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube and also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful or helpful, if you could do me that favor, and that would be click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who does do that. And I want to say thank you to everyone. I did a presentation yesterday for the CTU cyber what did they call it? I can't remember the full title here all of a sudden. But thank you for everyone who attended yesterday. Had a lot of fun with that. I hope you got something out of it. And hopefully we'll see you in the trading room today. Let's take a look at some of the stocks that could be setting up. Remember, everyone, they're not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence and be very, very careful in this market. But I got to tell you, there's some really good looking charts out there that are setting up, and really more than anybody could possibly buy in bullish patterns. First off, I placed an alert here on Oracle yesterday. Really nice little resting pullback in here. It may have to rest a few more days. Right in here, I put this alert a little bit on the tight side here, but keep an eye on that. Trying to pop here this morning. I think there's every reason to believe Oracle can continue that move to the upside with all of our high tech pushing in the market, looking very bullish here. GE, take a look at General Electric. Really nice resting consolidation pattern. And you know, guys, when we see these patterns and they just continue to repeat themselves over and over and over, we see these same patterns over and over and over, just continuing to push to the upside. Well, there's every reason to believe that can continue. And you can see in here that if we look at GE, there's nothing but blue sky above in that chart. So hey, GE can move right on through to the upside. Take a look at WB in here. WB, nice pop of my alert yesterday, pushing up through in here. You can see this stretch might run us into, well, there's some resistance up here that we'll want to be paying attention to, you can see. But if we continue that bullishness, I think there's every reason to believe that could stretch right on up into some of these highs. So keep an eye on that. Good looking chart, moving nicely overall. Continue to mention Boeing here. Yeah, this was that last trade right in here we alerted on and pushed right up, and now we have that same kind of pattern trying to push on through to the upside. Keep an eye on Boeing. Every reason to believe that can continue to stretch higher. If we look out here on the longer term in here, that next target up in here is probably somewhere around 240 in the chart. Keep a close eye on that. Caterpillar also having a great day yesterday. These patterns, guys, just continue to repeat. You can see there's that nice little resting pattern in here, and they just continue to just perform really, really well in this market, and it looks like Caterpillar's got some more upside in it. On the heavy equipment side, you might want to take a look at Cummins as well. Cummins had a really good day yesterday, reversing in here, pushing up into this next resistance. Now, I wouldn't want to chase this one, but something going on here in heavy equipment, little rest, little consolidation in here. I would keep an eye on that. Other things that you want to be paying attention to, take a look at Ball. You guys know I've been talking about Ball, setting this, waiting for this to pop. Well, yesterday was the day. It finally popped up through here. Watch that carefully to see if that can stretch on through. You can see we've got some resistance up in here to be paying attention to, but Ball looking very good overall. Disney making a nice push. This is one of the reasons why I alert on charts. I put those alerts up there. If the stock doesn't perform, no problem. I don't care. No skin off my nose if it doesn't follow on through. But now we're pushing back up. Notice we've pushed up and we've rested in here, trying to break through that resistance to the upside. Watch that carefully. If Disney can follow through and get back up through there, well, I'm going to have some interest in Disney again, so watch that pretty closely. Take a look at other places like EA. EA has had a nice run to the upside here, smacked into some resistance pulling back, but that's really what I usually want to see. I want to see that higher low. I don't want to chase this move. I want to wait for that higher low. So if we can hold in this area right in here, I'd be looking for that next opportunity, maybe for that to push on higher. Cisco continues to be an incredibly nice looking chart. We broke back above this downtrend. You can see we're regained this support. We're trying to hold in here. All we need is a little bit of a bullish push, and I think that pops on through, could break to some new highs there on Cisco. Certainly worth keeping it on a list. You might want to keep an eye on all of these cruise lines. My goodness, cruise lines doing really, really well. I wouldn't want to chase this move right now, but a little bit more rest out here toward trend. I'd look for that next opportunity. By the way, I really should adjust that trend. We might actually be there on that trend. So watch CCL, RCL also looking good. Norwegian Cruise Lines looking good. Keep an eye on those. Can't deny how strong discount retailing has been here. Dollar Tree continuing to climb here in this chart. Probably needs a little bit of rest at this point. Give that time to rest, pull back. I would be looking for the next opportunity into that trade. Take a look at GLW. Nice pop in GLW yesterday. Pushing through here, there's that little resting pattern again, and pop goes a weasel or right up through, and I think there's every reason to believe that can push on through. Remember, Corning makes the glass for most of the devices, and Well, everyone is pretty comfortable with the idea that we're going to see Apple continuing to move higher. Certainly Google is moving higher, so watch that carefully in here. GLW has every reason to believe to move on up. I would watch that pretty closely. So there's quite a few stocks for you to look at, and there are a lot more in there to pay attention to. You know, for example, financials. Man, financials doing very, very well. I'm holding XYZ. Let's get XYZ in here. XYZ, that has had an amazing run to the upside, coming into some resistance, so I really wouldn't want to push on through on that. I just got beautiful profits right now in these charts. Even seeing things like BTU continuing to hang in there, showing lots of strength to the upside. Just really good profits in trades like this, and I would continue to keep an eye on this tiger that I've been holding as it continues to stretch to the upside. It's looking pretty good overall, so watch some of those in there as well. Y'all take care, be safe, have a wonderful day. I want to wish you great results in your trading. Thank you so much for being here, and as always, I wish you all the very best. See you bright and early Friday morning. Take care, everyone.
Black and white candles, my stars in the dark. Price is my king, got that fire and spark. Rideways my ranch on the trader's trail. Trading with heart where the profits prevail.